where cleanup efforts continue in the wake of twin hurricanes. 2 weeks ago, the country was battered on both coasts by powerful storms which killed at least 139 people. Well, there were devastating images of Acapulco underwater as thousands of people were stranded there. But the greatest damage came to rural, isolated areas in the surrounding mountains. It took aid crews almost a week to make it to residents there. Well, our correspondents joined a team from the Red Cross as they reached one village that was almost completely washed away. Here's their report.
Landslides and collapsed roads. The mountains of Guerrero were hard hit by Hurricane Manuel. This team from the Red Cross arrives in the district of Querizal to bring first aid supplies. Many of the residents of the nearby village of Tierra Colorada have walked for hours to ask for help.
The river pulled my daughter away, along with 3 other people. We took refuge on higher ground, but we didn't have anything to eat, and it kept on raining.
On September 14th, an overflowing river wiped away almost half the village, cutting residents off from the outside world. A couple hundred people remain stranded. 1 week after the hurricane, persistent fog and rain have made it impossible to rescue the stranded villagers by helicopter. So there is no choice. They will have to make the long trek back through the mountains. 30 men from Querizal volunteer to rescue their neighbors. The day after, the expedition starts, loaded with emergency food and medical supplies.
Ahora pues, por ahí vamos entonces, apoyarlos.
But the path is dangerous. The slides have left the mountainsides fragile. On the road, we come across clandestine opium fields. It's in these isolated areas that the majority of this drug is produced in Mexico. We meet the first group from Tierra Colorada. Only a few of them have left the village. The others were too weak to make the trip.
How are the conditions down there?
It's really bad, you know? The houses, it took them away and left us with nothing. It's really bad. Come take a look and help us out. My mum stayed up there, but her house is really near the river, so I'm thinking a lot about her.
This man points to a few wounded people left back on the path. They are too exhausted to go on. The group joins them, and Fernando applies basic first aid. While running from the village, this woman burned herself. 300 people are still waiting in the village. With so few resources, the evacuation is going to be long and difficult.
We'll carry the pregnant ones in hammocks over our shoulders, even if it's just 100 meters at a time until we get there. Does that make sense?
It's 8 hours to get back.
It doesn't matter to me how long it is. My goal is to get them all out of here.
After a 6-hour walk, we see Tierra Colorada from afar, or at least what is left of it. Further down, the expedition enters a makeshift camp where people have been eating boiled pumpkins all week amidst constant wetness. The water has not gone down yet. The clinic and the school have been washed away. Tierra Colorada is full of mud and stones flying by. Fernando gathers the families in one of the few houses still standing. He's trying to convince them to follow him to Querizal.
I want to know why you didn't go.
There's a lot of kids. All these kids, they're going to get even more sick.
The fear of drug traffickers casts a shadow over the expedition. A week before, a shootout in a nearby village killed 20 people.
They don't respect anything. Nothing can stop them. They roam around free and do whatever they want. That's what scares people, is to bring their families and then show up and start shooting at us.
Finally, almost all of the men accept to let their wives and children go. It rains all through the night, and the risk of landslides gets higher.
Okay, listen up. I don't know how much water we have, but we'll try to make sure everyone gets some.
150 undernourished people start to climb up the mountain. Men from Querizal bring food and water along the route. Some donkeys carry children and materials, but the animals will have to be abandoned along the way. As they arrive, many are out of breath with exhaustion. Another Red Cross crew has arrived to give medical attention to those in need. They have to give emergency treatment to those with hypothermia and exhaustion. A hot meal and a refuge for a couple of nights won't make these people forget that they have left their village behind.
Will you go back to Tierra Colorada?
No. No.
No. No.
No.
Because we're scared now.
Just like these people, thousands of Mexicans have lost everything in the hurricanes. The reconstruction effort will last years.
That was Focus here on France 24. Well, it's time now for a sports roundup, and we start with football and English Premier League action.